Tucker Carlson. Well, his antics failed yet again. That whole, maybe right-wing Fox News host who happens to like to pretend to be an uplifter of the working common man. Well, he invited on his show last night the organizer of Amazon's first labor union. That's Mr. Chris Smalls. Of course, Carlson's goal was not necessarily to uplift unions, but to tear down Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yep, why? Well, she happened to miss one of the Amazon organizing events for unionization in New York City sometime last summer, back in August. And I can tell you that Mr. Smalls wasn't here to take Tucker's bait. He left the Fox News host floundering.
Sandy Cortez spends a lot of time telling you that she's on the side of the worker. She's like a modern Wobbly. She's the Walter Reuther of our day. And that's why last year she vowed to stand alongside striking workers at Amazon's Staten Island warehouse. And we're for that because they need the help. But at the last minute, Sandy Cortez bailed on the whole thing. And that infuriated labor organizers who just won a big vote to unionize at the Staten Island facility. Christian Smalls is a union leader at Amazon, and we're happy to have him join us now. Christian, thanks so much for coming on. So were you surprised that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has said repeatedly that she's on the side of the worker against the corporation, wasn't standing with you at the barricades?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just her. It was all of them pretty much, It's not
fair.
Yeah. I don't want it to make it just between us and AOC because, a lot of them didn't show up. And, once again, we have no ill will against them. We know that whether they showed up or not, they didn't make or break our election. We just had to continue to organize.
I love that. Despite Tucker's best efforts, Smalls did not fall for it. It was not about to call out AOC. And while some people were a little bit frustrated that she didn't appear for the event, well, Smalls had previously expressed confusion as to why that was. And this is what we know per The Independent. Smalls said that he had 3 meetings with her staff leading up to that rally. Everything was good up until the last second. They were like, yeah, they can't make it. I was like, wow. And AOC cited security concerns, also scheduling conflicts to explain her sudden ability to attend here. And this may have really appeared shady on its face, but AOC's actions really have matched her words. The New York Congresswoman and others have really stepped up to investigate Amazon. So on April 1st, the House of Representatives opened a federal probe into Amazon's unfair labor practices. Leaders of the inquiry, which includes Ocasio-Cortez, have demanded that the company hand over documents related to its labor policies and procedures, particularly when it comes to severe weather events like the Illinois tornado that ripped through an Amazon warehouse back in January, killing 6 workers who were told to stay despite fearing for their safety. She also joined Rep. Carolyn Maloney, Democrat in New York, in a letter to Amazon demanding more information about its worker safety protocols. It definitely seems like Ocasio-Cortez is doing a lot out here to uplift the Amazon workers, but as we saw, she wasn't attending that event. Ben, what do you think of all this, especially with Tucker Carlson trying to kind of really call her out?
Well, I just love how Tucker is trying to play both sides of this story. He's trying to simultaneously attack AOC and when that suits him, pretend for a moment that he cares about workers being able to unionize, but then his true colors come through, his true sheerly partisan colors come through when, while speaking to this man, he goes, look, I'm a Republican, so typically I'm not much in favor of workers unionizing, but it does seem like they could step against this behemoth a little bit of Amazon and try to push back and get some rights for themselves. How? By just individually, one by one, just knocking on the CEO's door and seeing if he can listen, or maybe by collectively bargaining, perhaps. It's just such bad faith that he tries to win it on both ends, but not surprised.
No, not surprising at all, Wes.
Yeah, what I liked about what Smalls was up there to do, and I saw a lot of people felt it like, a way that he went on Fox News and all of that in Tucker Carlson's program. I'm like, look, this guy has a more narrow set of goals than somebody like AOC does. That's just the bottom line. Like they're very self-interest in getting their union contract right, getting their union strong, getting their situation in order, because they are up against literally one of the most powerful companies in the world, right? These are normal, everyday people. So I have no problem with this. And also, I understand that AOC has considerations that are a little bit bigger than whatever's going on with this Amazon union. Even though part of her brand is support these type of things, she's decided that she's got very big political ambitions. And if those ambitions involve advancing in the Democratic Party of 2022, you're gonna see some inconsistencies every now and again. Because if we know anything about the Democratic Party establishment, is that they're not some pro-union, pro-worker situation up there. She's threading a really fine needle here. And that's what I think you're seeing right here with the inconsistencies.
No, I could see that, but also too, I just think of AOC, how she said security concerns. Like that alone seems to be a sufficient answer given all of the heat and the shade that she gets for what she does. But I think really what we can all kind of just boil this down to is the thought that, whatever your criticism of AOC is, it doesn't really matter in the real framework of the fact of Tucker Carlson and mainstream media acting like they're allies of unions is something that is absolutely and completely absurd. These outlets show us and how they covered the efforts to unionize at Amazon. So we know this per Media Matters. From April 1st through April 11th, CNN covered the story for just 5 minutes in one segment during a little watched Sunday morning show at 6 a.m. Fox aired slightly more coverage at roughly 10 minutes across 5 segments, but the vast majority of it was correspondent reports about a statement of disappointment from Amazon's management rather than quotes or discussion of the workers' demands. In one segment, Fox News anchor Neil Cavetto praised the Amazon warehouse pay structure and benefits, which workers hope to improve, as very generous. And so we know that after that historic vote to unionize Amazon warehouse workers in Staten Island, Fox News and CNN dedicated mere minutes to discussing the story. MSNBC really was the big winner, spending a whole 42 minutes talking about the union efforts. And this chart here really says it all. And as for the coverage on Tucker Carlson's beloved network, well, I can tell you that Fox News coverage of labor issues has skewed extremely anti-union, as you may think. Network personality Laura Ingraham has even done a speaking engagement at an anti-union fundraiser. Fox has also bashed unionization efforts by Amazon warehouse workers before, taking the side of management and labeling unsuccessful unionization votes as a victory of freedom. I don't think we can ignore this. We know where Fox News stands, and it would be completely inconsistent with unionization.
Yeah, obviously nobody thinks that Tucker Carlson has now become some populist, man of the people. Nobody believes that, although he wears that Halloween costume almost every single day on his TV program. But that's again, like the Republicans and the conservative movement specifically, they're so out of whack in what their ideology is these days. They don't know where they're going. Their only plank is own the libs, whatever that means. If that means we're gonna be pro-union for one segment on Tucker Carlson's absurd TV program, then that's what we're gonna do. But it's not tethered to anything tangible. They have no ideology. It's just antagonism.
Yeah, it's definitely that antagonism there. And Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and also, while it sounds like MSNBC covered it in more detail across their network, that 42 minutes of coverage was just half of one Rachel Maddow monologue. So she tends to go on a little bit. So other than that, they probably could have covered it some more. But I think really a pretty strong Democrat plan to get more Republicans in the media on board with progressive issues might be next year at the very end of March to just come out on the last day of March with a bunch of Republican positions and immediately get Republicans to come out with the opposite just reflexively and endorse a bunch of progressive positions. And then the next morning, the Democrats come out and say, April Fools.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.